It was released last week. It was last Wednesday. So it's available now. It has a lot of really interesting new features, and I guess I've picked out some that I feel are kind of important and relevant. I got one slide of just kind of talking points, and then I've got another slide which we're actually going to go over into the application and look around and kind of do some show and tell. CRM, so enhancement to CRM events. And then it also has enhanced merging of duplicates and association of records. So that sounds, anybody who's constantly trying to look at duplicates and sort those out, that seems like a really good thing for the CRM area. Enhanced support for user-defined fields or activities for activities, tasks, and events. That's an area that I think we tend to get to customizations quickly, and especially for a small license going through the automatic updates, or if you want to make your future updates, user-defined fields can be a way to kind of simplify that, and this enhanced support of those things inside activities, tasks, and events would make a lot of sense. Field service, and this is huge. This is something that was not in previous releases. You can take a service contract and you can do a renewal and an option to copy a service contract. There were some challenges in that area. Someone who's got a service contract for a couple of years and a building gets sold, and there wasn't a good way to redefine that service contract. Now we're finding this is the first step towards giving more flexibility in the service contracts. In finance, so Acumatica embraces the AI and machine learning capabilities within Acumatica. There's a number of areas. Even search, if you search for things, do an inquiry on help, the AI will actually watch and see your answer, what you selected after you asked to search for something. It'll then learn what you mean when you're looking for certain things in help text, as an example. So the finance area is now looking at GL anomalies with AI and detecting them and putting on dashboards. So those are two new features that sound like really interesting. Hey, we go along, we're making GL entries for certain things throughout a month, throughout a year, and one comes along and it doesn't match the rest. It's gonna flag it and say, hey, is this okay? And it's just a great feature of value that was just added to this. And in addition to, in the finance area, support of multiple base currencies for fixed assets. So you've got some machinery over in, whether it's manufacturing machinery or you've got some construction machinery over in Canada. Well, now we can do that in Canadian dollars if we need to. So it sounds like another great enhancement. So manufacturing, control point operations and production routing. Let me explain a little bit more about that. So you're now allowed to set an operation, a production, a routing step to be a control point. So an example that would make sense, and this doesn't exist in the previous version. You get to a certain step, you go through your first three manufacturing, your work centers, 3 work centers, and you do those operations in those work centers. Now you've got to take this half-finished product and you got to send it out to be tested. You have to send it out to an outside vendor for painting or rust removal, whatever it might be. You can now set that last routing step prior to that outside process as a checkpoint to say, hey, we want to make sure that we got our quantities correct before we send this thing out for outside processing. Really nice feature. I think that's going to become widely used. I think as soon as I read this, I thought, gosh, how would we live without this? This seems like a really good thing to add to the production. Security is now document visibility by branch. missing the H there, but document visibility restrictions by branch. So another nice thing, if you've got certain production facilities that are in a certain branch versus another branch, to lock that down. And a whole bunch of new predefined user roles for manufacturing. The mobile, another really significant change. There's a new app for mobile, and it now has workspaces. So the previous mobile app was functional. You logged in, you could get your list of areas that you need to work in. So now you've got workspaces that can be defined inside the mobile app, and there's a new place to define those things in Acumatica. So that online experience took a big step forward. I think the app was released last, it would have been maybe January timeframe. I think it was around the summit. But now 2022 R1, now that feature function of defining those workspaces is in this new release of Acumatica. So take a look at that. I was impressed just by the more modern look and feel. It's a more feature rich, a little bit more visually. The workflow is certainly a little bit better than it used to be. Okay, so now I've got a couple of things that I want to show you by going into the application. We're going to look at sales orders. There's a new order type here, and I'm going to show you some really interesting things about that. And then we're also going to look at construction and unit billing. I got a couple screenshots here, but we're actually going to go into Acumatica and look at these things. Lauren, any new questions before we go and look at this?
It does not look like it.
Okay. Okay, so let me start my web browser. And we're going to go into Acumatica. Okay, so sales orders. I first want to show you that there is a new order type. And this comes as not enabled. We activated this just to show you, give you some show and tell about it. It's a blanket order type. And it does have some template features. So AR document is no update because it spins off orders from the blanket. And I want to take you through that process and kind of show you exactly what that looks like. So I've got a blanket sales order set up. Let's go in and take a quick look at that and some of the unique new things. So of course we've got this new BL order type. We've got the customer, which is Westwood Manor, and down here we've got a few items. We've got some computers, and I'm going to move it over to the right here a bit, and I'm going to show you that this is going to their main location, right? But I've got some more computers we're going to put on this blank order. You'll also see that this has a start date and an expiration date. So this is that concept of we're going to commit to buying all this stuff from you between now and December 31st. And this is for our way that we can keep track of that. So we've got 20 of these computers that are going to go for the main branch. And we've got another 10 computers that are going to go to the Michigan branch. So you get your primary location, and then you get your Michigan branch. So if we go in and we look at this line, so now we're going to look at line details for this first line. So we can say, okay, I want 5 of these on 4.1, and I want 5 more on 7.1. So these are kind of scheduled releases of this line. And then then it says, okay, well, the remainder, that leaves us 10. We're going to do that on 12/31. But say I want to add an August 1st. We're going to do August 1st, and I need 2 more on that date. I got somebody new starting, so we need a computer for them. And you'll see it automatically comes back and says, okay, Now that just leaves 8. What's the date we're going to put on that? And we're going to put that back out to December 31st. So by this method, you can now set up, and again, these are all for the main location. We have another line down here, which was for that Michigan location. We'll look at the line details here. And again, we've got a couple of them here in 4.1, a couple of them 6.1, and then the rest on 12/31. So you can see now, so the scheduled order date we've got, and the scheduled shipment dates, you've got these splits now. So now we've got two things introduced that we could never do before. We can take one order and we can ship it to multiple locations, multiple addresses, and we can take an item with a quantity and we can split up how we're going to ship it out, right? So there's a couple things you can do. One of the things you can do now that we've got this blanket order set up, we can go to sales orders and we can process orders. Yeah, we better save that. Yeah, we're going to save that. Okay, so we can go and process orders, which is a common place I think we all go commonly. Now we're going to have a new feature. We can create child orders. And now it's asking for today's date, but we can go and we can set that to a certain date. Like we had a couple of releases were on 4/1. This is one place that you can go. And again, this is that automated screen where we can actually go and set this up ahead of time. So we can actually go and say, we're going to do this periodically and get those child orders automatically created. We can also we're going to set today's date to 4/1. And we're going to create child orders right here from within this order. So now it's going off to execute this for us. So now it's created two new SO order types. And why did it create two? Let's go take a look at why it created two. We also now have a new tab here for child orders. So now we had 5 of these that we're going to ship over to the main warehouse, and we've got 5 or 2 more shipping to the Michigan location. So we can actually drill into these. Now it's going to check inventory. We're going to create shipments. We're going to do ship confirmations. All that's going to happen here against this. But now we've got a way to track right here within this blanket order exactly how many shipments we've made out of that. So I think one more thing I want to show you here. We want to print a blanket sales order. There's a new document here that's going to get created. So you can see that this is kind of a different layout than it was before. We've got our shipping address for our Michigan location and the quantity that we've got for that one. We've got our Bronx, New York, and the quantities we've got for that. So we've got a new way to kind of confirm a blanket order with somebody. So we can actually send this off to them by email or by a printed document. What do you guys think of that?